In the previous tutorial, we added a reference line to a chart, and today we're going to start replicating this chart and analyzing other categories. So it's very easy to replicate this A/B test. All you have to do is right-click your tab over here and click Duplicate Sheet. And I'll rename it right away because we'll be analyzing country. And this framework that I have shown you here, it actually is very simple to alter for different classifications. And the beauty of it is that over here we only have gender one time in a whole tab. As you can see, it's not in the marks, it's not in the rows, it's only in the columns. So whenever you want to change the category, all you have to do is drag your new category on top of gender and replace it. So in this case, we're talking about geography. Let's drag geography, replace gender, and let's make some room. And bam, it's all done. We've got our reference line, we've got our labels, we've got our percentages. Everything has been done for you. So you see how quickly it is? And this is why I am a big fan of data mining through Tableau. You can talk to your data and it just happens like lightning fast. And so here right away you can see what's going on. Okay, so Germany, people in Germany are exiting the bank at a rapid rate. 32% of customers in Germany left over the period of the observation. And France and Spain are below average. Once again, it makes sense that these two are below average because they're equal and approximately equal, and this other one is above average, so they have to be below. So right away from here, we've got some insights. We can, run to the executives or to your manager and say, hey, something's going on in Germany. Maybe there's a competitor there. Maybe the products are not suitable for the market. Maybe there's some sort of new legislation. Something is going on, and you can already start digging into this deeper. That's how we do this is not actually an A/B test anymore because there's three categories, so this would be an ABC test, or you can just call it like a classification test or categorization test or something like that. But you kind of get the picture that we can see that there is an anomaly. Something's going on in Germany. And that is exactly what we're looking for. Through this process, we're interrogating the data to look for anomalies. And once we find them, we can investigate them further and take them to the next level. So now what we want to do is do another one. It's so quick and easy, why don't we do a couple more? So let's right-click country and duplicate sheet, and let's look at another variable. So I'm not going to rename it for now. Let's select a variable. Here we've got some measures, so actual numeric variables. And here we also have some categorical variables that happen to be in our measures, like has credit card. That is a 1 and 0 flag, right? So we need to change it into dimension. We don't need it as a number. So let's drag has credit card into dimensions. And let's now drag has credit card on top of geography. Once you've done that, what do we see here? That in fact, there isn't much of a difference between has credit card, yes or no. And once again, here you can see the aliases are not fixed up. So let's do that. Let's go to has credit card and create some aliases. So here we can say has credit card, so 0 would be a no, and this would be a yes, and okay. So here we can see that 20 of the people that have a credit card, 20% left the company, and the people who don't have a credit card, 21% left the company. And why I say that there's no big difference? Well, because the difference is only 1%. And more importantly, remember that this is not a full-fledged statistical A/B test. And if you do run the statistical A/B test, then little differences like that, when there's only a 1% difference, they require a very large sample size to be statistically significant. And in our case, it's only 1,000 people. So you could check and take this further. But my point here is that this is not your best investment of time. You would much rather look at country or gender, because there the differences are massive, and there you can actually have a impact and maybe make some business rules or business decisions around what you're going to do to fix the problem. In this case, there's not much to fix. There's only a 1% difference. So now we're going to rename this tab to has credit card. And let's do one more. So let's look at our variables. We've got is active member here. So people who have been active in the past couple of months, have they A bank can determine that in different ways. So it can be whether a person has logged in the past 3 months onto the online banking, whether they've made a transaction in the past month or so, and the period can be different. So there's a number of ways this can be determined, but since we have this column, let's work with it. I'm going to take this column and I'm going to convert it to a dimension. I'll show you another way you can do it. Here, instead of dragging it, you can just right click and say convert to dimension. Now we have this has credit is active member here. Let's duplicate our sheet just like we did before. Right away we can rename it because we know what we're investigating is active member. And once again, our beautiful framework allows us to just take is active member and replace it here in columns. And what do we see here? So once again, let's do the aliases right away so that we can analyze properly. Is active member 0 usually means no, 1 means yes. Click OK. So what do we see? People who are not active members, of them, 27% left the company in the period of observation. And 14% or only 14% of active members left the company. So this is above average, this is below average. And what does that tell us? Well, it kind of backs our intuition right here that people who are active, who are actively using your bank, they are less likely to leave. They're invested into your bank, they maybe like your products, they keep logging in, they keep checking their balance. Why would they want to leave? Of course, some of them will leave because competitors, and maybe they have better offers somewhere else, find better offers somewhere else. Maybe they're consolidating their accounts. But people who are not active are at a higher risk of leaving. And that makes sense. If somebody hasn't logged into your bank, online banking for 3 months, he's a major suspect to leave your bank. Maybe he's already banking with somebody else. Or if somebody who usually does a transaction, sometimes a transaction per month or a couple of transactions per month, has stopped doing that, then once again, there's a higher chance that this person is going to leave. So there we go. We've created so far 4 A/B tests, and it took us just a couple of minutes. So we've got gender. We can see that female customers are at a higher risk of leaving. Germany is at a higher risk of leaving. People have credit cards. That doesn't really affect. It's not a important variable in this situation. And is active member, people who are not active are more likely to leave. So what I wanted to suggest for us moving forward is we've got one more categorical variable here, and that one is number of products. So how many products does the person have with the bank? Does he only have a savings account? Does he have a savings and a credit card? Does he have a loan? And so on. So I wanted to suggest that you practice with that variable and do it as homework before our next tutorial. So just create another A/B test, but this time for number of products, and see if you can find any anomalies, see if if what you see actually backs your intuition, and create an alias and just have a look and investigate that variable, and then we'll get back to it in the next tutorial, and I will show you how I created this same A/B test. Although it's very simple, very straightforward, just like the ones we did here. I'm sure you'll go fine, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. Until then, happy analyzing.